looking for work, whatever. I had these like very menial jobs that I found, constructing stages, taking them apart, cleaning up after parties, construction work. I can remember this one job which really almost broke me. I almost went home after this. I had a job all day long making 20 shekels an hour. And for you guys who've been to a bar, that's about the price of a beer, right? So imagine working for an hour for one beer. And my job was to shovel dirt into a bucket, 2 buckets, bringing these 2 buckets up 4 flights of stairs, dumping them into a larger container, and that's where this other guy making 20 shekels an hour mixed it into cement so that people could, put the cement on the cinder blocks. After that, I went to this bar called Mike's Place in Tel Aviv, which I'd been going to every night and every day for that matter when I could. And I was just like, I'm going home. I became friends with the bartender there. I said, I'm going home. This is ridiculous. I'm making 20 shekels an hour, shoveling dirt into these buckets. My back hurts, and for a beer, right? So he says, listen, we need some help here at the bar in the kitchen. So if you want to flip burgers, you can work here. I said, what's the benefits? He says, well, you get a drink for free. I said, I'm there. I'm game. Show me the kitchen. So I started flipping burgers, having a great time. If you guys have been to Tel Aviv, found Mike's Place, they have live music every night. It's a big party right on the beach. I was having a great time. But 3 months went by. I said, enough flipping burgers. My face started to break out. I said, I'm going home. They said, listen, Dave, we really like you. You got a great personality. We want you to stay. I said, flipping burgers. I'm going to stay flipping burgers? They said, we'll make you a bartender. I said, whoa, bartender on the beach of Tel Aviv. That sounds like a great job. So I said, okay, I'll do it. What's the catch? They said, okay, you have to promise us you'll stay for a year. Commit to us, you'll stay for a year, we'll train you, we'll show you how to be a bartender, make the drinks, whatever, it'll be fun. I said, okay. I got nothing going on for me really in the States. There's no fish. So, what am I going to do? I said, okay, I'll bartend. So I stayed for a year. I said, after a year, we'll see what happens. This was 2001, 2002. For those of you who were watching the news back then or heard the stories, this was like the height of the Intifada, right? There was paguas, there was bombings, restaurants, bars, nightclubs, Pesach seders, wedding halls. I mean, it was bad. It was a very, very difficult time here. And if you guys were to visit here 8 years ago, you wouldn't recognize the place because it was like a ghost town. There was no tourists. People weren't coming here to Israel. It was dangerous, rightfully so. But who wants to go to a war zone? We were under attack. That'd be great, Bradley. Yeah, thanks. Air conditioning. So, anyways, so I'm working at Mike's Place. A year goes by. There's all these paguas. There's all this, tragedy happening. And I see the country coming together, supporting one another. And I'm thinking to myself, the year's up, and I can go home. I fulfill my commitment. But like most Jews, I have a guilty mind, and I put the whole weight of the world or the whole weight of the Jewish people on my shoulders. I said, if I leave, then anybody who's got a passport who can leave is going to leave. And then what's going to happen to Israel? For sure, down the tubes, right? Because it's the Jewish people who constantly come here to Israel and stay here that makes this place happen. The miracle that we call Israel. It's because of us. It's because of you guys here who come for a year abroad to study here that really keep this thing going on. Of course, with the help of God. So I say, I can't leave. I can't do it. So I stay another year. I stay, month to month. Right? I'm going to continue to work here at Mike's Place. At least I'm doing my share. Right? At least I'm supporting the economy. I'm putting smiles on people's faces. And that's when tragedy hit home, very close. And 2 suicide bombers from England, raised in England, middle-class family, decided to kill themselves and try and kill as many Jews as possible. So they flew here to Israel, they went to Gaza, picked up some belts, and came to Mike's Place. Thank God, the security guard, training in the IDF, realized that these 2 people who were coming were not normal. Right? I don't know what he noticed about them, but he was like, these people mean trouble. And he started to push them back, didn't allow them to enter the bar. Realizing that he was onto them, they pulled the string, whatever it was, the detonator, blew themselves up outside the bar. Of course, there was a huge crowd that had already congregated outside. They injured scores of people and killed 3 people. One of them was a good friend of mine, a waitress who had been working at the bar for 2 years, Dominique Haas. I still hadn't made Aliyah. I still wasn't actually committed to actually live in Israel. I just was having a good time. After this pagua, I made the decision that I was going to make Aliyah. I was going to make Israel my home. I wasn't going to allow the terrorists to win. Thank you very much. So 3 months later, I had made Aliyah. I was officially a citizen in Israel. Now what? The bar was opening up a new place here in Jerusalem. It's been closed down since. And they asked me to manage it. I said, great, sounds cool. I'll go to Jerusalem. Come to Jerusalem. It's 2003, 2004. And Arafat's still around, and he's screaming this mantra of his, the Million Man March, the Million Man March. You know, not the one in Washington, D.C. The one that he wanted to do to Jerusalem. They said, Israel doesn't have enough bullets to kill us all. Let's just march to Jerusalem. We'll take over the city. And as soon as Jerusalem falls, the whole shebang's going to go. We'll push them all into the sea. So I said to myself, you know, what am I going to do? Right? What am I going to do if this actually happens? Right? If it really hits the fan and this battle is going to go down, what am I going to do? And so I said, I got to learn how to shoot guns. You know, I got to learn how to defend the country if I need to. So I went to the IDF office and I said, I want to join the army. And they said, Mr. Sussman, it's very nice of you. We admire you. Your Zionist aspirations are commendable. But honestly, you're 27 years old. You really want to join the army? I mean, like, you know, what do you think you're getting yourself into? I said, I really want to join the army. It's important to me. I need to know how to shoot a gun. I want to be able to defend my people. I want to be able to defend my country. At the time, I had no clue about God, but I wanted to defend my God as well, right? So they said, okay, fine. We have a special program for guys like you, and it's called Shlav Bet. It's 6 months of intensive training. And then once you're done with your intensive training, you get put into a regular battalion, a gadood. It's called a gadood here. You get put into a regular gadood, and you have your miluim, which is reserve duty. 3 weeks a year, you have to, you know, do checkpoints, whatever it is, guard prisons. And I said, okay, great. So I went in, and I joined an artillery unit. Had my training, which was awesome. If anybody's thinking about joining the IDF, it's a lot of fun. You kick down doors, shoot guns, throw grenades, blow stuff up. In the training, that's the fun part. So my 6 months was up. I go back to Jerusalem, living my life, and everybody could read the writing on the wall. Basically, there was a war on the horizon, right? Maybe what we have today, chas v'shalom, with Iran. But there was trouble brewing in the north, right, with Hezbollah. War breaks out in late July 2006. My unit gets called into action. It's the first time that I got called into reserve duty. And so my unit gets called in. We're there longer than any other unit, 28 days in the blistering hot sun, no showers, no beds, no toilet paper, hardly enough food. Not a very comfortable situation. The battle that I want to talk about that, I mean, I took part in many battles, but the one that I want to concentrate on this evening took place on August 2nd. And basically I'm in an artillery unit, so we're not, you know, on the front lines, we're sort of behind the lines, launching pigazim, bombs, basically. Sometimes light bombs to help out the infantry units who are fighting in the front lines, or blowing up buildings where they can see that, you know, there's Hezbollah fighters or Katyusha launchers in it. Excuse me. So, anyways, Hezbollah was much more equipped than anybody imagined, and they actually had a reconnaissance unit in the area that we're in. Now, when they would launch these Katyusha rockets, one would land a little bit to the east, one would land a little bit to the west. You know, they landed very randomly. Sometimes they landed very close, but for the most part, it was just very sporadic. This day, we noticed that the Katyusha started to land a little bit closer, a little bit closer, a little bit closer, and then it got really, really close. I can remember I was going to the command post, the Mempei, who basically gave the coordinates where to launch the bombs to, whatever. So I was relaying some messages.